That's
It's
right.
about time. All right, here we go, guys. We're live on Facebook. Hey, Lab Coat Agents, thanks for joining us again. This is part 2 to Living Beyond Commissions, and we've got Chris and Zach with us, and of course, my co-host, Jeff Fitzer. Thanks for being on, guys. I'm going to pass it over to you, Chris and Zach. Let us know what's in store for this one.
Zach, go ahead. You can jump in, bud.
Yeah, so welcome back, everyone. Part 2, Living Beyond Commissions. I'm Zachary Beach. My father-in-law, Chris Prefontaine from Smart Real Estate Coach. We specialize in buying and selling on terms. Just to do a super quick recap, because we are on part 2 here. Chris, my father-in-law, was actually a broker owner for 18 years and didn't do a single terms deal. When I say terms deals, I mean lease options, owner financing, subject to deals, creative financing space. Myself started about 5 years ago in this in real estate. Actually had a bartending background, so knew zero back 5 years ago. Done well over 100 plus deals and counting now. But I specifically grew up in the creative financing space. So me and Chris both have some really good points of views from all facets. So if you're on here and you're a realtor, broker, come from that space, Chris has a phenomenal background. If you're somebody that's fairly new getting into real estate or just an investor background, certainly you get that perspective from me as well. So it's going to be a fantastic hour with you guys. We're going to dive in, a lot of deals, a lot of hands-on, and help you guys really be able to implement this into your business. So welcome to part 2.
Yeah, and Zach, let me just chime in there because I spoke with many of you in the last 2 to 3 weeks since we did part 1. And some of you have passively watched. Everybody's busy. I understand that. And so I will say this as a recap for how this fits, because everybody's busy. Some people say, well, I don't know if I can do something else. It's not something else. As a realtor, it's taking what might not fit in your conventional deals, conventional box, so to speak, and now being able to take almost any deal that you might not have taken as an agent and actually purchase it and create 3 paydays, not 1. So that's just kind of a gist. Let me do a little recap here. We did give away free gifts. I want you guys all to be able to get the free gifts, if nothing else here. So go to smartrealestatecoach.com/gifts. You will get our best-selling books electronically now. We're not shipping since COVID. You'll get an ebook with some great stories in it. You'll get a 3-year, $1 million plan is how we structure it. And when you tack that on to your current realtor business, that's pretty cool. It gives you some really cool diversity. And then we've already done many strategy calls with you guys, but you can book a strategy call on that same page for free, and Zach or I will personally do the call. It was funny, I got on with some of you and you said, is this really you? Yes, Zach and I do every call. We will get on with you live. You all were sent part 1 replay, but there's your link, smartrealestatecoach.com/beyond. That is series 1 where Zach and I went through all the nuts and bolts A through Z. So you get a nice gist there. Zach, I want to just mention a couple things there, notables.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just focus on the YouTube. That's at Smart Real Estate Coach. We have well over 100 deal structure videos and counting right now. So a lot of these deals that we're going to go through, you can actually go on and watch the videos on our YouTube channel where either ourself or our associate, who is part of our community that we lock arms with and do deals with, are going to structure the deal and be able to show you the ins and outs of that deal, not just in a slide, but you'll be able to meet the people that are actually doing the deal. So definitely take advantage of that YouTube channel. We produce 3+ videos every single week. So great place to take advantage of free resources.
Yeah, and guys, as a point of reference, when Zach said I was a realtor for 18 years, when I was a realtor, we had a small team, but we did about 100 homes a year. And then I also ran a small office, 15 or so agents. But I will tell you, if I knew how to purchase these properties where I otherwise would have let it go, like an expired listing or an over-leveraged house, or they just didn't want a realtor, if I could purchase those, the picture would have been quite different. And why did I not know it? It's been around since 1800s. I don't know. It didn't hit my radar, and it probably hasn't hit yours, but hopefully we can expose you to some nuggets that'll help you expand your profit centers here. The biggest question we get, and we'll dive in here, is will this work in my market? People think, well, why would a seller sell me a house on owner financing or lease purchase when they can sell conventionally? Forget COVID for a second. it doesn't matter what price range you're in. We have students doing deals from literally 60 grand to 3 million, that broad of a spectrum. So price doesn't matter. The market condition, frankly, doesn't matter. Right now, with the banks tightening and different things going on with the chaos, are we busier than ever? Yes, we're busier than ever. Some of you are. I've spoken to some of you in the last few weeks, and some markets are just roaring hot still. But the market conditions, when you're working on terms, it's very interesting because we can still pay top dollar as long as we get the right term, for example, in an owner financing deal or a lease purchase deal. Doesn't matter. We've been doing just terms deals, probably in the thousands now, since the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, and it didn't matter. It's just a matter of how you structure these deals. I will tell you, Zach will address this later when we talk about your expectations. This will come down to you. There's more of a mental game here, in my opinion, having done this now for 29 and a half years, than it is the skill set, because we can teach the skill sets to every single one of you on how to capture these extra deals. Then it'll just be a matter of you and your implementation. Zach, on that note, you want to jump in on this one?
Yeah, I think it's rather important that you manage your expectations. It has been our focus as a company to shorten the time to first deal, which is something that we're going to talk about. So time to first deal means that the day that you took our course, which we're going to offer it today, and we offered it on the last one, the QLS Home Study course, from the day that you started that course until the time you get your first deal, we are so focused on bringing that to our community to get that down to 120 days or less. Now, is that realistic for everybody? No, of course it's not. So you have to manage your expectation, because when we speak to any type of audience or anybody, doesn't matter how advanced they are within real estate, we always say that it's going to take you roughly 6 months to get your first deal. Of course, we've had people get their first deal in 30 days, and then it's taken people well over a year. So the point to that is you should be looking at this as a business and as a 3-year experience. So we talk about this all the time. We say, imagine if you're going to start your business and you're going to ask investors for money, and you went to the board and you said, hey, I'd love for you to invest in my company, and I'm just going to go ahead and give this a try. Well, all the board members would think that you're crazy and you would never get investment for money. So why would you spend time and effort and your own money into something that you're just going to, quote unquote, try? So our point here is just manage your expectations, because you can do this. You can certainly do these types of deals. I don't care what your experience is. It just, there's going to be a certain amount of time that's going to take you to acquire these skills.
Yeah, and at the risk of being redundant, because some of you are on the first one, let me say this about the return. Okay, so Zach talked about getting there. The return, I don't know what your average commissions are. I know they run the gamut, and I know what mine were back when I was doing 100 homes a year. Now take whatever average commission you have, understanding that it's a one deal thing. You get a home sold, you get your commission. And now look at the bottom left of the screen. We average our family team 75 grand per deal, all 3 paydays. We create 3 paydays per deal, which you'll see in the replay. Well, that ranges again around North America, anywhere from a low of 45,000 to a high of 250,000 and up. And it provides you cash flow now, which you'll get on a commission, cash flow monthly after that deal starts, which you wouldn't get on a commission, and then a big back end when this thing ends up cashing out 3, 4, 5, 10 years later. So just to give you, again, the big picture on the return on this, nice mix, nice variety to add to your current existing business. Zach, I think you hit most of that, 36-month commitment. The free strategy call is going to be on the free gift page, Zach, so I don't think we have to hit that link. All right, I will talk about numbers. You guys, most realtors I've spoken to from this group know their numbers. They've got a business built. They know what it's going to take to get out there and get deals done. I will tell you in the terms business, a little different. I will also say that it's very predictable. So for the first 6 to 12 months, not knowing how you'll interact with this side of your business, the terms world, you can borrow our numbers. I'll give you some rough metrics. It's going to take Zach or I 11 to 17 conversations with property owners that have already been pre-screened, raised their hand and said, yep, I'm interested in selling on terms. Now, granted, you're going to be in front of them anyway, probably with listing appointments and whatnot, but it takes us 11 to 17 to go ahead and get an appointment. After 17 to 25 of those, we have a deal under agreement that ranges from 3 to 5 years on average on terms. And then after 25 or 40 of those conversations, we've got a sold. So what does that mean? You talk to 10 people a week, and you potentially have one terms deal that now set you up for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years in somewhere in the vicinity of 75 grand, depending on the market that you're in. Zach, we didn't address Q&A. I just want to say that if you guys, you could tell them how to raise their hand and whatnot, but then at the end, we're stopping either way for Q&A. You want to just mention how to do that so we can go along? I don't want to stop at any point unless these guys have questions, obviously.
Yeah, so go ahead and just type in the Q&A box, and as we see things pop up, we'll go ahead and we'll allot some time in order to answer those questions so we can have a nice open conversation. First part one was very us giving a presentation. We would love to open it up and allow you guys to ask questions, interact, utilize the Q&A, and I'm sure Tristan and Jeff will be okay if you guys raise your hand and you want to speak to us live. Then we'll go ahead and allow you to speak to us live as well. As long as the bosses agree.
If we've got some questions on the Facebook side of it,
I'll bring it into the webinar so we can ask those as well.
Perfect. All right. Let's keep it going then, Chris.
All right. This is a simple acronym we've worked on for years and years. I know, again, you're already in the realtor space. You already have a foundation, because I know what my foundation was coming into this. Here's what I ask that you keep yourself open to. We call it ACA, A-C-A-A. All it means is once you go through the QLS, Quantum Leap System home study course that Zach referenced, and I'll give you another link here in a minute, we discounted it dramatically for Lab Coat. We ask that you get into action. And then we ask that you do a strategy call with us so that we can critique a little bit about what you're doing, what you're not doing, what your challenges are. It's normal. It's a totally different model. And then we get you back after some adjustments, we get you back into action. So I say any business model, but our business model certainly is take action, let us critique with you, make some adjustments, and then get back into action. And if you rinse and repeat, so to speak, every single time on that, you can't mess up. It's that predictable what we've got going on, guys. Zach mentioned associates earlier. These are people doing deals all over North America with us. We literally do the deals with them. One of the biggest challenges in the industry in general, realtor, terms deals, investors, doesn't matter, when they're new, is hand-holding them to make sure they can get these deals done and make sure they can handle any tweaks that come their way. So that's an important acronym that we teach constantly. Zach, you want to hit tools, just because some of these guys will have some of this in place already, which is the cool thing. They don't have to even add an expense.
Yeah, so let's just start with your basic tools. So you got you got a website here. Obviously, you guys already have a website. A lot of these things are super normal for you. Freedom Voice. Freedom Voice is just a business line that's going to allow you to have multiple extensions for your property. Again, maybe you have something already set up similar to this. My Plus Leads is what we use. It actually allows us to pull expireds, for sale by owners, and actually delivers their numbers. I know, at least what I was told was that the MLS, you're not able to get the expired listings numbers like of the sellers. So this one actually provides those numbers. It's been the best tool that we've come across as far as pulling potential leads. And
Zach, I've used, just to jump in, I've used RedX over the years too. When I was an agent, I know a lot of these guys use it. We've had much more quality leads is the answer for My Plus. Just side note.
Yeah, Freedom Soft, fantastic tool. We just did a full live training on it. We actually have a customized CRM with them. So Freedom Soft is your CRM. It's your ability to gather leads. It's the ability to set automation and delegation and have your VAs all work within one platform to be able to really produce leads and to produce deals. Amazing platform. I mean, I could talk about it for an hour. Virtual assistants. We heavily believe in virtual assistants. I'm in the business of leveraging myself, and virtual assistants are a fantastic tool and resource in order to do that. We've trained plenty of them in-house, and they have made our lives so much easier. They acquire leads even when we're not working. So it's just great team. This is definitely a team business if you plan on scaling it.
Let me comment on that, Zach. So I said earlier, it takes about 10 property information sheets per week to get yourself to one deal a month, eventually, once you fill your funnel up with leads. Okay, so no matter how busy you are in your current business, you might be getting 10 or so already. If you're not, we have virtual assistants generate those. We do not call directly the expireds, the FSBOs, the for rent by owners ourselves. You can. We have the virtual assistants do that, so by the time we get the property information sheet, they're already motivated. And it's a simple call when they already say, yeah, have someone call me about this, especially during COVID. Our deal flow has gone up 3 times. because they're not getting the conventional buyers they used to. They're getting some, but it's a lot tighter, as you guys know, and they're just not moving the properties the way they were in every single market. Some are okay.
Hold on, Chris, we got one just got one question on the VA, so I'm just going to address it. How do you train your VA and where do you get your VAs from? We have been lucky enough where we've actually acquired an amazing VA and VAs from another real estate investor that we were friendly with. All of our VAs, actually 3 out of 4 VAs are from the Philippines. One is here in America. The one that's in America has called on over 10,000 properties for us and our associates, so the people that we buy and sell properties with.
Wow.
So we've got them from 3 places. We've either gotten them from a referral or we've gotten them from other VA services. And then eventually, once they left their VA service, and they ended up working directly with us, as long as there was no non-compete or anything associated with it. Made sure that was all set. How do you train them? I mean, training a VA, in my opinion, is very simple as long as your VA is ambitious, willing to learn. It's just like any of us. We all started at one point in time not knowing how to contact sellers and buyers on the phone. A lot of it is script generated. So as long as you're willing to spend the time with your VA and your VA is willing to be open to critiques, follow that ACA plan, you can certainly train any VA that's ambitious.
Here's what's really cool. We've spent since 2013 with one of those, okay, the one that Zach said's in the US, since 2013. This guy puts in 60 hours a week. I saw Tristan go, whoa, someone did. That's all he does is call. I don't know how he does it. That's all this guy knows. And so that picture 7.5 years being trained by Zach and or I doing specifically what we do. So I say that just so you don't say, okay, well, I can run off and get an assistant for $5 an hour. You can. But we've got a whole pool that understand what the heck it is we're doing that can generate leads for you starting next week.
That's the key, I think, guys. A lot of people, just to chime in on the VA side of things, a lot of people come in and they fail with virtual assistants because they don't have a process set for them, and they just say, hey, just do stuff. And I think that's the biggest challenge people find with VAs.
It is. Yeah, you're going to end up getting a little frustrated with that.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, I have a full system dialed in.
Zach, pay attention to the Q&A too. There's a couple questions there. I don't know if you want me to chime in and belt them out, or if you wanted to keep an eye on it.
Oh, let's just hit them before we move on to the next slide. This is probably the most common question that we've been asked from Deborah. Thank you, Deborah. Why would a seller who wants the most for their property do a deal like this? Most want their money now and the most money. Well, of course. I mean, 99% of the people that we buy from want a traditional sale. I mean, of course, everybody does. They want to close quickly. They want the most money, and they want it to be done tomorrow. But it's not always realistic that they were going to get all of those. So depending upon the seller's actual motivation and what's important to them is how you're going to be able to determine if you can help them. So if seller wants their most money, well, we can help them get the most money because when we buy a property, and how you could buy a property, you could say, hey, instead of me charging you a real estate commission at 5%, I can actually buy your property. We're not going to have a real estate commission built in. And now you can actually get more money for your property because you don't have to pay me on that. I'm just going to buy the house. So you can certainly help them get the most money. Now, if it is a thing that they need their money now and they're willing to take less, I mean less by either paying somebody a commission or willing to go less on their price in order to get it done, then of course we are not the best option for them. And we're not the best option for everyone. I want that to be clear. But the ones that you can be a good option for, you can solve some amazing problems for people and create amazing solutions, and it can be extremely profitable. It's the reason why our deals are profitable. It's because they're creative. Not everyone can do it.
Zach, can we jump in there for Deborah too? Add on to that, tack onto that. So Deborah, here's what I picture because I did hundreds and hundreds of appointments. I picture going to a listing appointment, and the same goes for a buyer, by the way, because we didn't even address that, but you've got a large percentage of buyers that cannot get conventional financing, even more so now. So you can help them. On the seller side, I picture you going in and saying, okay, morally, ethically, and financially, I'm going to look at your picture. And then I'm going to tell you, I think you need to have us sell this conventionally on the market at my real estate office. Or I'm going to say, I think the best route is for me to purchase this. And you're going to decide based on what Zach said, what their goal is or their challenge, unfortunately, during COVID. We have a lot of people calling for help. We have agents calling us saying, could you please help my seller? I'm out of options. Agents that know what we do. So this is a way of empowering you to be that person to not throw away any deals whatsoever. Example, a third of the properties, roughly speaking, in the United States are debt-free. They're free and clear. They don't, quote unquote, need their cash, presumably. They would have taken it out. That is an enormous pond, so to speak, to fish in, because they'll do owner financing, some of them, and they'll do so by taking principal payments over time. We'll show you some deals. Those are six-figure deals. Every single time they're six-figure deals. And I can make that statement because we're going to show you some live ones, but with the principal pay down component, it's huge. They can get a premium on their price if they'll go further out in time, and many sellers want that. And so we go on and on. Instead, I think we'll show you some live deals.
And there's just one last one, and we'll close up shop. Had to do with the tools. Deborah, My Plus Leads is the system that we use to find these numbers, to acquire these numbers. It's a data scraper, and they have expired listings, for sale by owners, and for rent by owners. Kristen, you just throw in the chat box, smartrealestatecoach.com/myplusleads, and you get a 14-day free trial with that.
All right, a little about lead generation, Zach, and then we'll see if we can get to deals here. I'll watch the time.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of this here, but we just wanted to make sure this was still in here just in case you didn't catch the last one, which is, I mean, our scripts and lead generation are set up for either you or your VAs to make outbound calls. And of course, we included that system like FreedomSoft that allows you to do text, email, and other aspects in order to automate and delegate this business. Primarily for sale by owners, for rent by owners, for your VAs, for you, expired listings. We do a whole bunch of niche lists. We like vacant out-of-state owners, especially if they're free and clear, because Chris alluded to those owner financing deals. Great list to target. Postcards, yellow letters, and so much more. But those are some basics that'll definitely get you started.
And I encourage you guys to go to that smartrealestatecoach.com/gifts, because on there, not only we get all that, but I want you to be able to get that free call, because if you saw half of the last one or you just got to catch the replay, I get it. But let's get on and chat live after you see that replay. I think it'll help you a lot.
Not only that, you got not only that, go to gifts, because you have a 40-page document that's how we do our expired listing, our entire expired listing process, where we take My Plus Leads, break it all the way down to 4 buckets, which one's going to accumulate to be deals, one you got to throw away, throw in your follow-up. So you have the ability to utilize that process. We've spent 2 or 3 years on that process that you're going to get for absolutely free. So go ahead over to the gifts.
Zach, in lieu of time, let's give the download here and a quick overview, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can go ahead and read it. And if you just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/downloads, this is our 7 steps to a take-in. These are the basic steps in order to, and that we follow day in and day out in every single deal in order to get our properties under contracts and to create those 3 paydays. I mean, you go ahead and read it, but this whole business is getting sellers and buyers bite-sized information, because just like most of you out there, most sellers have not heard of these types of options. So we're just spoon-feeding sellers and buyers in order so that way they can really take in and be able to notice how powerful these options are and how to be able to help them solve their challenges.
And I know, Zach, when we get to the deals, these guys will get some questions generated. Just a quick comment on how we get sold, because for a realtor, I definitely think that's going to be, what do I do with these things? And let me just preface it with this. The buying side, the buyer's side, due to the banks tightening their financing, certainly, but pre-COVID too, is the easiest piece of the business. The property would be the most challenging. If I had to have a pick, the first or the second, challenging to get the home, yes. Selling it, not so challenging. You've got a huge buyer pool that can't get that financing conventionally, huge. And they need this pathway. They need time to season, or they need time to save a down payment, or they need time to enhance their credit. That's what this does. That's what this program does for them. All right, so Tristan, you asked if we just quickly, we're at the halfway point here, zip through what these guys were offered last time, then we'll do some live deals.
Yes.
The Quantum Leap system that Zach mentioned. Zach, you want to run through this as I click through here?
Yeah, Mod 1 is going to teach you every single thing we were just talking about, how to launch this business and get it started. Then we'll include in Mod 2 how to create a predictable, scalable business. We hit some of our numbers earlier, which is so very important. This isn't about just doing 1 or 2 deals. I mean, certainly you can do that, but we want to help you be able to build a business because I'm assuming most of you on here are ambitious and want to create these 3 paydays. All the tools that you need for that 6 to 7 figures, all the resources that we have, scripts to complete the 15 to, actually those numbers are low. The last 3 months, we've actually completed almost 30 transactions in the last 3 months with our team. So right now is the time to be in this. So all the scripts you need to complete 30 transactions per month. How to structure assign out deals, which is one of our options. Our entire buyer's process, and I mean this is an elaborate module of our entire buyer's process because actually my brother-in-law Nick and Chris's son, he was actually a realtor for 8 years. That's why he loves this side of the business. He's able to help these buyers get into homes in which they didn't originally think they could and really solve their problem. So he is creating an elaborate module 6 of the entire buyer's process. And also within that, how to increase those 3 paydays because you get paid on the buyer side. And Nick has some amazing scripts to help you increase those non-refundable deposits.
And Zach, just a quick insert. So important for these guys to know as licensed realtors. Nick came into the business during 07. So he sat next to me when I went through all the mayhem of 08. And then when we redesigned, re-engineered the entire business to withstand any storm, he was part of that whole process. And so he's done hundreds and hundreds of buyers. And so that module is worth its weight. Just that module is. Go ahead, Zach. Sorry, I had to jump in there.
Yeah, how to structure owner financing deals. We covered that. How to structure sandwich lease purchases. Another one, how to structure sub-2 deals. So now you've seen all 4 of our methods in which we do deals. I mean, this QLS covers all 4 of the methods. If you go see most other quote-unquote gurus out there, they would have charged, they would separate all of these into individual products. We want to make sure you have the entire system in order to be successful.
Yeah, and when you go to YouTube, guys, it's free, right? Go to YouTube when you're done this and check out the last few deal structures that we do on Sundays. And you're going to see 166, 188 grand, 250 grand profit per deal. They're live deals. They're with students. Go ahead, Zach.
Yep, become a transaction engineer. So we just bring it all together. We have all of our contracts and then how to use all of our contracts in there. It's an amazing module there. And then module 12 is our weekly Wicked Smart workshops, or our monthly Wicked Smart workshops, where anybody that owns the QLS product can show up on the 4th Thursday of every single month, bring your deals, and we'll help you craft them up live. And then those recordings go in there as well. I do want to just start with this, or end with this, I should say. I mean, Chris has done this, with his, say, 18 plus years of realtor experience and now 27 plus years. I've done this now. I got 5 years, but I started from 0. We have associates or students from around the country that coming in with 0 experience to those who are overly seasoned. It's not us. There's nothing special about us. It's the system that we created or that we were able to build upon that has been proven to work. So we're not holding the magic pill. We're just presenting you a system in which you can take advantage of today and go ahead and do more deals and start creating these 3 paydays.
Okay, so quick video on the system, guys, a minute or 2, and then we're going to jump into live deals and hopefully get some interaction from you guys because that's where some of the glossiness comes when we start ripping apart these deals. Quick video for you.
Chris Prefontaine, and I want to thank you for your interest in the Quantum Leap system, or QLS, as you'll hear us refer to many times. Doing whatever it takes, for however long it takes, to create a monster lifestyle, whatever that is for you. I'm not talking just financially, but a lifestyle you want and deserve and wish to be done.
All right, guys, for lab coat specifically, our price on our website is $9.97. We do have a 2 and a 3 pay. We want to make it easy for you. For lab coat, since the last webinar, and we will leave open just for that community, it's /lab coat. smartrealestatecoach.com /lab coat. No S. Okay? So that's specifically for you guys in addition to the free gifts. And we'll make sure that gets put in the chat box there, I would assume. Zach, are there some, we're going to dive into deals here. Is there a question you want to hit first?
Let's see. Anonymous attendee, not understanding how you are buying the seller's home. We're going to dive into some deal structures right now. Chris, do you have something you want to say before we do that?
Well, I'm assuming they didn't see the webinar, the first one, so I understand. So quick recap, and then we'll show you what it means. Lease purchase, owner financing. For us, usually that means it's free and clear, and we're making principal payments only, and subject to existing financing. Those are the only three ways we buy. We control at any one time, not with students, just our own family company, 50 or 60 properties, none of which we are on personally. So we will not be signing personal loans. You will not be taking out money from investors. You will not be using your own money. You're buying these all on terms. All right, let's do some live deals and see if it clears up some things. You want to do this one a little bit, Zach?
Yeah, so this is one of our associates, and he's one of our coaches now too. Done amazing deals. He's actually located down in North Carolina. This deal in particular, I remember speaking with him about very clearly. This seller had the property on the market for over a year before it expired, and then Link went ahead and purchased the property at a purchase price of $399 on a lease purchase for 24 months. So that means, just to be super clear, just because it sounds like there's a little confusion, a lease purchase means that you and the seller are going to agree upon a price. You're then going to take over full responsibilities of the property for a period of time. On or before the end date, you're going to cash out the property. So that's what Link did. He didn't sign personally. The title stayed in the seller's name, bought it on a contract, and then now he has full control over the property without using his own cash or credit.
Right. This is important to say because this is an expired listing. So are there not, for all the realtors, are there not expired listings in every marketplace? Absolutely there are. In the hottest markets there are. That personally is my favorite, expired listings, because it's unlike FSBOs, many of those don't have time. They need a solution.
Yep, so then he tied up on for $399 for 24 months, and he sold it for $469 because our buyers who need time in order for credit repair, credit enhancement, are willing to pay a premium on the property because they're locking in their price for the next, say, 24 months. Deposit, non-refundable deposit goes right to you. It's $46,900 on this house. Comes directly off the purchase price. So, and then monthly payment to seller is roughly $2,000 a month. The payment from the buyer. So payment number one is the non-refundable deposit that you're collecting from your buyer. Pay number two is the spread or the cash flow that you're creating. So the difference between what you're collecting from your buyer and what you have to pay your seller or the seller's mortgage. Cash flow on the property is $435, so it's $10,000 over the next 24 months. Markup on the home was $70,000 plus the principal pay down. So you are getting the benefit of the principal pay down. So let me just back up one quick second for you. So with this deal, for this example, Link bought the property for $399. We don't have the exact mortgage balance, but this is how we craft our deals. What we're actually doing is we're locking in the equity of the seller. So that way we get the benefit of the principal pay down. So for this example, let's just say Link bought at $399, but the seller owed $200,000. Link really is buying the property for whatever the mortgage balance at the time of financing, plus the $199 that he locked in. That way he gets the benefit of principal pay down. That's how you're going to create massive wealth, and that's how you're going to be able to leverage yourself.
By the way, guys, that's also, Zach, how we did 3 deals in 13 that were written at 9-year deals. Why would a seller do that, and why did we do that on a lease purchase? They, at the time, were either right about what they owed, what was worth, and they really couldn't afford to come out of pocket, or they were even slightly over leveraged. So we don't care as long as we have a long enough term to let that principal pay down do its job. And so that's why the longer the term, the better. This is very short and very uncustomary, but we want to put all kinds of different deals in here for you. This is very short term, actually.
Yes, we typically wouldn't do 24-month terms anymore. All right, minus the original deposit. So that's going to give you a total 3 paydays of $46,000 plus the 10-4 plus the back end profit of $32,000. That's an $89,000 total profit deal, all 3 paydays on a 24-month term. So just to throw this out there, I mean, you could just imagine if Link ended up getting the property for a 36 or a 48-month term, which is something that we'd be more apt to do nowadays, or even some much longer, his profit could have easily been 3 figures. So, or sorry, 6 figures. So just food for thought.
I got a comment on this, and I want to have Kristen see if Mike McCready's is on by chance, and if you guys want to have him do the next deal. He's one of our students in California. My comment on this is this, Zach. This guy was on, I think you said, for a year with agents, a year or more. So what do you do as an agent coming in if it's already been tested for a year? Price, right? I would think. So instead of lowering the guy's price, Link went at his price. That's the key thing here. So that's why to Deborah or maybe Dawn, I forget who asked the question about why would they do, this is one of a myriad of reasons why they would do business with us. Is Mike McCready's on? Did we know that?
No, he's not on.
Okay.
No, he's not. Guys, I have a question on the previous one. If you can go back really quick.
Of course.
Yeah.
If somebody asked, what if the price goes down to $369? What happens then?
If the market goes down?
Yeah.
Time is going to probably be the immediate answer. So all of our seller agreements have time built in there. So we would do one of a couple things. We would extend in this deal. This is tight. We'd extend with the seller in this deal, give the buyer more time if that dramatically happened in that short time frame.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, this is exact reason why our average deals now are like 5 years at least. 60-month terms are very common now. We have some deals that are 10 plus years, especially if we'll get into some other ways on how we buy property, but buying property subject to and owner financing, much longer terms protects you from these types of things in the market.
And what we do, it's kind of neat, about a year and a half or so before COVID, because clearly nobody knew that was coming, we started doing things virtual more, and we started doing longer terms, trying to weather any storm. And not only did the niche we're in our model, in our systems, and our support weather it flourished, frankly. Okay, so you can blow through Mike's a little bit, Zach.
Yeah, so owner financing deal out in California. Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful house. Expired listing, purchase price at $617, term 60 months. Sold it for $659.9. So this is owner financing. So what that means is we actually agreed upon the price with the seller. We then closed on the property. We took title. Seller then holds the first position on the property because this property was free and clear. Mike then crafted up principal-only payments, typically, so zero interest loan for 5 years. A lot of our deals that we do owner financing, especially in 5 years or shorter, are principal-only payments, 100% principal. As you can imagine, that creates massive amounts of principal paydown, great wealth on the back end, and makes these deals rather profitable. So pay number one, deposit from the buyer was $62,000, was $63,000. Pay number two, monthly payments to the seller were $23,000. Chris, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but the $2,300, is that plus taxes and insurance, or is that?
No, Mike, this is a little different. It's a little unconventional within the terms niche. So Mike has about a $1,500 principal. We're going to see in a minute, but about a $1,500 principal out of that 23. It's not full because he has some stuff like taxes and maintenance, believe it or not, because it's such a big property built into it.
Okay, so spread is $850 a month, and 60 months is $51,000. Pay number three, $42,000 on the back end, so it's the markup of the house. Principal pay down is going to be $90,000 if it goes full term, minus the original deposit of $60,000.
He's off by $2,000 on that. That's okay though.
Total paydays, pay number three on the back end is $72,000. So let's add them all up. Total profit on this deal is almost 187,000. If he's not able to renegotiate with the seller, we renegotiate quite often, especially longer in these terms. The one other thing I wanted to mention too is, so when you're looking at pay number 2, you could be thinking to yourself, if you're not familiar with this, well, you got to include like maintenance and repairs and all of that. This is purely cash flow profit, because when we sell these properties on a rent to own, the buyers are taking over full responsibility of the property. So you're not acting as a landlord or anything. You're just collecting a monthly check and then getting paid out on or before their end term.
So there's a
huge difference.
There's a couple of questions on the Facebook side of this, guys.
Let's do it.
And it's because they missed the first one, so you're just going to have to bear with me on this one.
All good.
All right. So with the deposit from the buyer, that deposit is going directly to you guys as the investors, or where is that going?
Directly to us. Yep.
Okay. And that's assuming.
Non-refundable.
Okay, and that's assuming that you guys, did you purchase the property outright? That's the main question.
This one here, we purchased the property outright and have title, but it wouldn't change if it was a lease purchase and we received a deposit. It's still a non-refundable deposit with a lease purchase agreement. Here's what's important to this question. I'm glad it came up, Tristan.
Yep.
Because there's different ways people teach this, and frankly, I think it's wrong. That's why we do it the way I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
When you put a buyer in a home, they are a buyer that has gone through an RMLO, that has gone through a credit enhancement game plan that then all fits within the term we need. So we're setting them up to succeed and cash out versus, oh, we'll put them in there and hopefully they can make it. And if they don't, it's okay. We'll do another one, collect another deposit. No, morally and ethically, that stinks. So all the buyers we approve have a mortgage-ready plan that fits. Now, do 100% cash out? No, life event happened. We've had it all: divorce, death, everything you can imagine we've had thrown at us. So 2 to 5% of these don't cash out, but that's an inverse relationship to the typical model.
Okay.
But to take it even further, Tristan, and whoever asked a question on Facebook, that non-refundable deposit does come directly off the purchase price. Because, of course, when they go get their own loan, we want to help them continue to increase that non-refundable deposit. So when they go get their own loan, they already show the mortgage lender, hey, I already got 10% in this property. I've worked on my credit. I've been living in the house for 2 years. It's much easier for them to go get their own financing.
And Zach, and Tristan and gang, we've got, I don't know, a dozen deals. So in part 3 in July, it will be all deal flow and Q&A so that we can go even deeper that time. And we'll go ahead and pull the next one up.
All right.
Guys, I really like the idea, though, of having one of your coaches on, too. I think that would be fantastic to get it straight from the horse's mouth as well.
Great for 3, not even coaches, even a student. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great, guys. I think that's a really good idea. Let's do that for sure. And then last question on this, so that people understand. This one's owner finance, so you didn't really have to put anything down, correct? Or did you put something down as the investor?
No, the only thing we put down on owner financing deals is we're not paying the seller down. So you can't expect the seller to come out of pocket for the states that have a transfer tax. So there will be some transfer tax and closing costs for the investor. So the new investor will steer them towards lease purchase because of the $10 deposit. And once they have a deal or two, we'll help them find some free and clear, because these are obviously bigger back ends, but you gotta have a little money for the states that have the transfer tax.
All right. Makes sense. I love it. Thank you, guys. I love this, guys.
Zach, let's do this one, and then we can do some Q&A or open it up, because I just think time-wise we're gonna be hitting the limit.
Yeah, Chris, why don't you do this one? You're more familiar with this one.
Okay, so this was an Amish couple actually that were trying to literally go into a normal sale, a normal purchase, and go back into, they were leaving the Amish community. So they, not only did they help them get this done, but because they were trying to do it on their own, but they gave them an education in the process, like a major education. This is on YouTube as well. Purchase price was $192,500, nice 4-year term. Greg and Cammie likely I could get them to come on to the next series in July. They sold it to a rent-to-own buyer for $219,900. Let's walk through some numbers. Little under 10% for the deposit, And again, guys, this is a lease purchase now. So you notice they still have a payday one. It's still a non-refundable down payment. It goes against the purchase price. So when this thing goes to cash out, we have a few in June ourselves. The mortgage officer does the same thing they would with a conventional deal now that it's at the end. You just have to source everything just like you normally would. Mortgage payment, PITI, a little under $1,400. Let me get my slides to move here. What is happening?
I think it froze.
Is it still frozen? Oh, Chris froze.
Yeah, Chris froze. So while we do this, while we're in the middle of that, I saw some Q&A pop up. Let's go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, let's do that, dude.
Keep this rolling for you. I don't understand the principal pay down. Why is the seller not getting that benefit? Well, the reason why we get the benefit of principal pay down is, number one, the structure of the contract. The way we structure our contract is Mr. Seller. So let's use this one at the 192.5. Let's say that's 192.5, and we'll use a mortgage balance of, I don't know, 150. Mr. Seller, what we're going to agree to is we're going to agree to we're going to agree to the exact mortgage balance at the end of the term, or the end of financing, plus the $42,500. That's going to give you a huge benefit of principal pay down because, number one, it's going to protect you from a down market. And then number two, it's actually, if you're the one that's going to be taking 100% responsibility of that property, then in my opinion, you should be getting that benefit of principal pay down because you're the one that's making those payments. You're just guaranteeing the seller's equity in the property. So I hope that answers your question, but that's a huge benefit for you as the investor, and a huge difference in our deals compared to others.
That answered my question. That was good. I like that.
Do we have any other questions here on this end?
Let me see here. No, we answered that one. Here goes. Kristen is asking a good question. She's in California, so this one will apply to me too. You got that one, Zach?
Yep. Kristen, can you give me an example taking into account a property I own? Maybe it'll help me understand. I own a Florida home. I am in California. Out of state investor. I want out. I am looking at Zillow to purchase so I avoid additional closing time and cost of vacancy. How would you structure a deal to win over Zillow or anyone else? So Kristen, if you have the ability to not need your equity, meaning if you don't need your equity tomorrow, you could certainly sell your property that you own through a rent-own. That will allow you to sell the property at a slightly increased price at a premium. That's going to also allow you to create 3 paydays, and that's going to allow you to create a non-refundable deposit from your buyer, and then you're going to be able to create a spread each and every month. And you're the owner, so you're getting that benefit of principal pay down. So that's going to give you some large profits on the back end. So without knowing your numbers, Kristen, it's real simple to structure the deal. You're just going to sell the property through a rent-to-own program, which is going to allow you to create those 3 paydays. Now, I think the best resource, as always, would be to go through our QLS home study course, so that way you can understand how to structure that deal. But we've had plenty of our students go ahead and structure their own deals, or even houses that they live in that want to go move into another property, because they know they're going to create more profit from those 3 paydays. And secondly, they don't care about pulling the equity out today. So I know that may be a little bit vague of an answer, but without knowing your actual purchase price you're looking to get, mortgage payments, all of that, then that would just be the basic way of structuring the deal. Hope that helped, Kristen.
I think so. So if we lost Chris here, you just want to wing it, Zach, to finish, or you want to just kind of see if there's any more questions out there?
Yeah, let's. You guys have seen plenty of deals. I'm trying. I'll help Kristen craft up this deal real quick, and then we'll go from there. Chris, welcome back.
I just totally froze, guys.
That's okay. It was a good still picture of you. So, So Kristen, we got so the principal is 135, worth 260. Mortgage of 1050, rent for 1600. Okay. So if you're telling me that it's worth roughly 260 traditionally, then my guess is you could probably sell it for like 289.9, 299 to a rent-to-own buyer. You probably collect a nice non-refundable deposit of roughly 10%, let's say. So that's a 30 grand upfront check. You'll be able to get roughly that 1600, maybe slightly less, because our buyers typically pay roughly about what the mortgage is going to be. Mortgage is going to be when they actually go close on this property. So with this, it looks like you're collecting roughly $400 per month. And then I don't know what your principal pay down is on the property. But my guess, I don't know, say if it's like $400, it's probably gonna be less than that. $200 or $300. I mean, you got another 6 to 18 grand if you sold it on a 24 to 36 month term. So instead of just pulling out your cash today of roughly, what do we got? Like 105, you're probably gonna net, I don't know, probably close to 200,000 by doing it, structuring it that way. Kristen, take advantage of the strategy call. I'd be happy to walk you through that exact deal to give you a little bit more insight. But if you plan on selling this property and creating more paydays, go through our QLS home study course. You're going to know more than 95% of the people out in this world about structuring these terms.
Yeah, Zach, quick comment on that, because I wrote that down before and then come back to it. You and I have been in, I don't know how many RIA meetings, one most recently in February before COVID, where two people in the room raised their hand unsolicited and said, look, I've been doing all kinds of investment deals. I've been a realtor 20 plus years. I've never seen this setup. And so it's pretty powerful once you get your arms wrapped around it through the course.
Absolutely. So let's just wrap up this deal for you guys. We've done a couple other sandwich lease purchases before, and if you're attending, which obviously you probably will, part 3, then we're going to dive into even more and more of these deals. Head to our YouTube channel as well. You're going to get over 100 deal structuring videos, and it'll start to come into play with the QLS home study course, and start looking at these deal structuring. It'll come into play. Total profit on that deal, just under $50,000. So we wanted to show you that we got deals that are $300,000 worth of profit, all the way down to $50,000. It's certainly going to depend on your skill level and the deals that you're actually structuring.
Zach, I know how you doing for time.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left. Why don't we just wrap that up? And we got the link for them as well. Kristen, can you go ahead and post the link in the chat. It's just smartrealestatecoach.com/labcoat, which will get you all of the free resources that we're giving away, over $2,000 worth of free resources and product. If you're diving into our QLS home study course, definitely go ahead and dive into that. And part 3, we're going to be diving into even more and more deals that we guys get a grip. If you're watching this on the replay, I highly recommend go ahead and watch part 1. Make sure you got it. Finish this one, and then that way you're overly prepared and ready for part 3. That way we can dive into some deals on real nitty gritty.
Hey guys, in part 1, you can see on the Lab Coat Agents YouTube channel, and I will put that link down in the chat, and then as well, the guys, one person had a question about what your YouTube channel is.
Yeah, it's just YouTube. You just search it, Smart Real Estate Coach.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
It's the best way to do it, man. Keep it consistent and simple. That's right.
Yep. So
awesome.
You guys go ahead.
Do you want to talk about what we want to do on the next one as well? So anybody listening, anybody still on, I think it's really important to convey that we will include a student or two or whatever you guys want to do on the next one, so we can kind of hear it from the horse's mouth. I think that's really important.
I think that's a good plan. I think we'll get, if we have a full hour, we'll bring at least 3 on. If you guys all go to the smartrealestatecoach.com/labcoat, you will see a montage there of about 7 or 8 students too, given that was like a couple months ago. So take a peek at that video. I think it'll help you a lot, and then we'll bring them on live. And
of course, if you guys want to be overly prepared and be able to really understand how these deals are structured, go purchase the course, dive through it, and that way when you show up at this call, you're going to be even overly prepared. You're going to know how to implement this, because we're going to show you how to structure these deals, and that way all the pieces will fall into place. So if you're ready to dive in, I certainly would, because then we'll be able to help support you guys on the next call as well.
Hey, Jeff and Zach, we didn't, with Lab Coat, not only did we do the price, but I just noticed we also did, and we didn't mention it, we put in the seller calls, the buyer calls, the Dr. Joe Vitale mindset beat. We threw all that in for free. So that's still up there. It's $2,000 worth of stuff. It's more than the course. So that's for Lab Coat only in the $797 price. Like, we threw everything for you guys.
Yeah, this is golden. Tristan and I have one of our guys getting in the program because we love it so much. So we're excited to get started and actually execute on this, and look forward to sharing some successes with it.
Good stuff.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you, everybody. I know everybody's super busy. It's Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for everyone coming by. Again, go to smartrealestatecoach.com/labcoat, and then make sure you're watching these replays, and we're going to see you guys next month. But in the meantime, please schedule your strategy call. I'd love to chat with you again to make you guys overly prepared for the next call.
And don't forget too, episode number 47 of the Lab Coat Agents podcast was with Chris. So that's an hour's worth of content that you can this. It was a great podcast. So that's episode 47.
Jeff, thanks for having us, buddy. Jake, thanks for the help. Everybody have a great week.
Awesome. Thanks,
everyone.
See you next month.
Yeah.